Tonight, a minority in parliament demands resignation of Lands and Natural Resources Minister Emmanuel Amakofibo, accusing him of flip-flopping on the Ewoyaa Lithium agreement, which has been withdrawn from parliament pending fresh consultation on government royalty rates.
The minority of the 9th Parliament in Parliament is of the firm view that the honourable course of action is for the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources to resign or be relieved of his position in the interest of accountability, good governance, and restoration of public trust in the management of Ghana's mineral resources.
Well, we have details plus take you live to Ewoyaa, where the Ministry of Lands is in strong engagement with the chiefs and people of the area. Here on Top Story, brought to you always by Telecell Connect and Energies, Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil, enjoy holy sleep, and also by Shield Pension Trust, into the future with you. My name is Samuel Kojo. Tonight, the minority in Parliament is demanding an immediate resignation of Minister of Lands and Natural Resources Emmanuel Amakofibo over what they describe as his mismanagement of the lithium deal with Barari DV. Their call comes in reaction to the minister's decision to withdraw the deal from Parliament for further stakeholder consultations on what will be appropriate royalty rate for government and the country. Now, according to the minority, the minister took a defensive position when they, the minority, raised concerns about the terms of the agreement when it was presented to Parliament, insisting that it was a much better deal than the one that they, the MPP, brought to Parliament when they were in power. Today, the minority group have heavily descended on the lands minister, accusing him of flip-flopping on the engagement. Listen to MP for Otafo, Vincent Eko Asifwa, address journalists in Parliament.
These developments, coming after the minister had publicly and emphatically assured Parliament and the Ghanaian people that the agreement satisfied all necessary requirements, raise grave concerns about ministerial responsibility, credibility, and standards of governance. This matter is not about punishment. It is about responsibility. When the minister gives Parliament firm and unequivocal assurances that all legal, technical, and procedural requirements have been satisfied, and the same agreement is later withdrawn on the basis that those requirements were not in fact fully met, accountability must necessarily follow. In every democracy, ministers bear personal responsibility for the accuracy, reliability, and completeness of the information they place before Parliament. The integrity of parliamentary oversight depends on it. The minister forcefully defended the agreement, dismissed concerns raised by the minority and civil society, and presided over its presentation to Parliament for ratification. The subsequent withdrawal of the agreement, now explained on grounds of inadequate consultations and the need for further review, represents a direct contradiction of the assurances previously given to Parliament. This sequence of events amounts to an implicit admission that Parliament was asked to proceed on the basis of information that was at best incomplete. While the minority recognizes the consultation and stakeholder engagement are essential of responsible governance, such engagement must occur before an agreement is defended and laid before Parliament, not after it has been withdrawn under public pressure. It is neither reasonable nor acceptable to assure Parliament that consultations have been concluded, only to later rely on insufficient consultation as justification for a reversal. It is this inconsistency between what Parliament was told and what has now been conceded that lies at the core of our concern.
So that was the MP for Otafo there. Now, the minority still insist the lands minister must resign or get sacked immediately.
Lithium is a strategic mineral with far-reaching implications for Ghana's industrialization agenda, energy transition, youth employment prospects, environmental protection, and intergenerational equity. The management of such a resource demands clarity, consistency, and foresight. The minister's erratic handling of this matter has undermined public confidence, weakened Ghana's negotiating position, and exposed Parliament to avoidable embarrassment. In any functioning democracy, a sector minister who presides over such contradictions and uncertainty on a matter of national importance must take responsibility for his action. In these circumstances, the minority of the 9th Parliament in Parliament is of the firm view that the honourable course of action is for the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources to resign or be relieved of his position in the interest of accountability, good governance, and restoration of public trust in the management of Ghana's mineral resources. The minority reiterates its unwavering commitment to defending the national interest and ensuring that Ghana's strategic resources are exploited in a manner that delivers real value to the Ghanaian people, both now and for generations yet unborn. We will continue to discharge our constitutional oversight mandate without fear or favor.
And before Tafo Vincent Kwasefo there, but we'll take you to Parliament soon. But let me bring in my colleague James Aveji, because he was in Parliament yesterday, and this, as we know, this position taken by minorities started brewing on the floor of yesterday. James, you were in the House. Tell us more.
Well, Brace, it was, this whole discussion started with the minority leader, Alexander Penyumakin, when he mounted some, he together with his colleagues mounted some, objection to some provisions in a number of bills that were supposed to be passed yesterday, some which went under consideration. And in some cases, when they raised the objection, the majority side also raised objection to that, insisting that the provisions must stand. For instance, in the Bank of Ghana Amendment Act, they made some objections and recommendations to two of the provisions. Then he hinted that it is becoming, a position of the majority to bring things to Parliament and refuse to listen to the position of the minority when they raise concerns about some of these deals and bills. He went on further to talk about the fact that the majority or government nowadays prefer to listen to civil society organizations instead of their counterpart in Parliament, who are supposed to be part of this deliberations to build the best deals and bills for the country Ghana. And so he made these assertions and insisted that if made example of this particular lithium deal, which he said when was brought to Parliament, they raised objections and concerns about it. Government did not listen. They went on to lay it, only for them to turn around later to come and withdraw it, because according to him, the government had faced some stiff oppositions and threats from these CSOs who were part of the consultations, who warned them not to go ahead with it as it is. If they do, they may face some level of resistance from the CSOs, for which reason government came back to withdraw this bill.
It is now the norm. It is now the norm from the new majority that every bill, certificate of urgency, if it is so, I want Hansa to record that this all-important bill that has just been introduced, today, everything must be taken. Is that a new norm? Certificate of urgency, Mr. Speaker? This is a new norm. Every bill that is brought, before you realize, certificate of urgency. Then we sit in this house, all so far. We sit in this house and civil society organizations will raise issues. When civil society organizations raise issues, then you are quick to come to this house. When parliamentarians are raising matters because of their partisan interests, you don't listen. Mr. Speaker, I would want to say that it would be wrong, Mr. Speaker, to take this bill through certificate of urgency same day. Let's tread cautiously. It happened in the Lithium agreement. Honorable Abu Jinapo raised it here. Our colleagues opposite defended it when Imani and other civil society organizations came in and added their voice. You now came to this house humbly withdrawing and now calling for stakeholder consultation. What is the urgency? When MPs do not get the opportunity to scrutinize, go ahead. Your masters, the CSOs, will be at your throats.
So that's the minority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Makinde. Let me take you to Parliament now, where Parliamentary Affairs Correspondent Kweku Asante has been monitoring issues from today. Kweku, do we have any response from the majority side?
Well, Praise, I understand that the ministry itself will put out a statement on that. In fact, their public relations officer, Pakwisi Sandorf, has already been speaking to it. But one very highly placed was telling me that they think that the position being canvassed by the minority is complete nonsense, and that they do not believe that a minister ought to resign simply because he came to Parliament to withdraw a deal put before the House, which they have, consequent to the public concerns that have been shared about the royalties deal, have simply withdrawn it so that they can amend the laws having to do with royalties and then put the bill, that agreement back before the House. They do not think that the call from the minority on this is merited.
So, despite the fact that they have this feeling, you haven't seen any member of the majority who probably is giving some sort of reaction to what they are calling for?
Not at all. In fact, all of them telling me that, off the record, when I approach a lot of them to speak to this, they say that the ministry will be in a better place to respond to the specifics of the issues that have been raised by the minority on this matter. However, they believe that the minister did this on a very good basis because of the very important nature of the concerns that have been shared by members of the public about the royalties that have been agreed in that particular deal. So withdrawing it is not flip-flopping. Okay. It is actually listening to the people, for which reason you put the deal there, and then working on it in such a way that the Ghanaian people will accept it.
Kweku, I'm grateful to you. That's Kweku Asante, our Parliamentary Affairs Correspondent there, joining us from the House of Parliament. Let's now bring you into the substantive issue here about the deal, because the Land Minister, we are learning, has moved his engagement to Ewoyaa in the Central Region, which is a community where this lithium has been found. And the mining, of course, will be taking place there to hear from the people. This is after engagement with civil society organizations and other groups of interest here in Accra. We've been joined on the line by spokesperson for the ministry, Pakwisi Sandorf. Pakwisi, I want to understand the focus of your engagement today in Ewoyaa, where you were.
Well, so Brace, yesterday was when we moved into the township of Ewoyaa to engage the locals and the chiefs there on the lithium agreement. Indeed, it was a very fruitful interaction that we had with them. Of course, they expressed their concerns about the general delay that has animated the entirety of the agreement, but we conveyed the assurances of government, and it sat down well with them. And so we are hoping that as we progress, we'll be able to satisfy their interest, which of course is already the focus and the priority of the sector minister, Honorable Emmanuel Kofi.
The last time we were in the community, the focus of the members there was about how their lives have been put on hold. Did this come up? And if it did, what was the assurances from the ministry?
Absolutely. They did indicate, like you said, that their livelihoods have been truncated. They are not able to go to their farms. Those of them who are building say that they've had to halt all their constructions. And so, really, they vented and they expressed these frustrations. The assurance and the commitment that we give to them was that we're going to engage the management of the Atlantic Lithium as well. Indeed, the manager was there. Ahmed Salim was part of that particular engagement. And so we listened to that concern, and what we are going to do now is to sit and engage on whether there is the possibility of an interim release measure while we wait for the operationalization of the concession proper after the deal has been ratified by Parliament.
Where do we go from here?
From here, we are continuing with the stakeholder engagement. Indeed, on Monday, we met civil society organizations. Yesterday, I represented the minister together with another colleague at Ewoyaa. Next week, the engagements will continue. We are hoping that latest by the close of the year, we would have dotted all our I's and then crossed all the T's, and then firmed up a more beneficial agreement that will inure to the good of the people of Ewoyaa and then the entirety of the country. Then from there, we begin the conversation on ratification yet again.
All right. And I mean, you've had the minorities call for the minister to resign or be sacked. What's the ministry's position on this call?
It is absolutely baseless. It is one of those calls that every Ghanaian should ignore because, like I had cause to indicate earlier on the pause, if you want to criticize any move, that criticism and feedback must be grounded in the proper perspective and substance. I do not see the leg or the merit of this particular one because, like I've earlier explained, conversations are ongoing. We have met civil society organizations. Indeed, all other relevant stakeholders are being engaged. So when anybody now comes to the fore and says that the man at the helm who is shepherding and spearheading the entire agreement should be set aside, it begs the question, what is the point? What is the basis? And the minority also argued. They argued that, well, because initially the minister was fronting fervently for the agreement and now he has taken a different position, that is an indication of inconsistency and failure. But of course, that is nothing close to that. It is just an indication of the willingness of the government to take better steps. And of course, change, I've always said, is inevitable. Look, as we are here, if any of us, like the way we are in the Christmas festivities, if any of us is making any purchasing agreement or any purchasing arrangement whatsoever, and then we make a commitment and then we realize upon introspection that we can actually grab a better deal, if we embrace that better arrangement, does that in any way mean that we are failures and we are being inconsistent?
But don't you agree with them that means anytime you're entering into an agreement that the minority is not aware of and doesn't put you on that scrutiny, you could shorten Ghana because of the deal you enter, because you don't probably understand. And that's the argument that we told you. You didn't listen. Now you've withdrawn it. So we don't trust that you're the right man to run or demand the Ghana's lands and natural resources ministry.
The withdrawal of the agreement is not in response to the calls by the minority whatsoever. Indeed, like I said, the ministry and the minister had been engaging a lot of stakeholders, and it became apparent, even following Imani's reports to government, that certain tweakings had to be done with respect to the content of the draft. It is as simple as that. It's not because the minority necessarily were calling and then we refused and now we have come to the tip of the iceberg and then we are retreating. It is not about the minority. It is about crafting a deal that benefits the entirety of Ewoyaa and makes Ghana the priority, which is the focus of the minister. And like I've earlier indicated, change at any given point should be welcome in our governmental discourse. It shouldn't be the case that if at any point government takes a decision and government is surprised with better information and government wants to make a move, then necessarily government is failing. That deduction, I think, is too simplistic, reason for which the calls from the minority should be outrightly ignored.
Okay, grateful to you, Pakwesi Shandov there. He speaks for the Land and Natural Resources Ministry. This is still top story brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energy is wholly insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy holy sleep, and also by Shield Pension Trust into the future with you. Now let's bring in people who really understand issues about the extractives and bring in Samuel Bequain. He's Executive Director of the Center for Extractives and Development Africa. Sammy, I'm grateful to you for joining us. Now you are part of those who met the minister. What do you make of where we are today in terms of how the government, the new LI government wants to introduce to Parliament to ensure that we have a scalable royalty rate?
Thank you, Sammy. Can you hear me?
Clearly.
Thank you so much. Good evening to all your viewers and listeners at the same time. Yes, I am part of the civil society group that the minister met, and I must say, I commend the minister for the engagement with the civil society. First of all, I just want to mention we understand this from the previous government to this government, and we know that at the time of the previous government, we had called for a policy on transition minerals, including lithium. Lithium is not the same as gold. We have to be very clear from the start. Our viewpoint is that we don't want the ministry to use an agreement to decide our policy path. However, I'm not blaming this minister. This is an agreement that was there already.
But it wasn't the one he took to Parliament, to be fair.
Sorry?
I'm saying that yes, the agreement was there, but there were slight changes than the one that he came to meet, not so.
In fact, when you look at the minister's new agreement, which I have the old and the new agreement, we already had it before even the minister called us. I would say that he has sought to strengthen the agreement than to weaken it. He has sought to strengthen it. And I always say, you don't eat the goose that lays the golden eggs. It's very, very important. Today, as we speak, do you know that Cote d'Ivoire is attracting more investment than Ghana, even in their mining sector? So when you are deciding on your fiscals, it is always important to take a regional viewpoint. Unfortunately, we don't have an African fiscal harmonization. If all of us were to charge the same thing, investors wouldn't have any option than to work in any of the countries that may only have political stability. But because we have different fiscal regimes, it is always important to check and make sure you you take decision based on the regional, what other competitors may have as well. The initial agreement had a straight 10% royalty in there. I was a bit worried for the investor. But at that time, the price of lithium was doing well. And so the investor had done its modeling. And for you to decide whether you'll be able to pay 10% lithium, everybody knows. Every student of economics, every student of extractive natural resource management knows that the best way to decide is to use a net present value or internal rate of return approach. It is very clear. All the modeling we do even as civil society to help government decide, that is what we use. And so with the price of lithium collapsing, going down to about $800 per ton as at now, it may be very difficult for the investor to afford that. No doubt about that. The minister resorting to a price-based sliding scale, I would say, may have been the best option because we have it in the gold sector.
But Sammy, initially, the one he took to government pegged the royalty rate at 5%. There was nothing like sliding scale. It came after concerns were raised, not so.
Well, that is why the minister had listened to the public. In fact, we all civil society, Dr. T always also lead us, Ben is there, among others. I mean, we had opportunities where some of our seniors had spoken to the minister about the possible sliding scale, which would have been the best option, and it was also in implementation already in the gold sector. And for now that the minister seems to have listened, I think is one of the best options, meaning that it is both a win-win situation. When prices are down, you don't kill the goose that lays the golden egg. You work with the investor. When prices go up, you are guaranteed a higher percentage of the royalty. And in any way, when you get opportunity to take royalty, you take it. Because royalty, let me be very emphatic, is just a loan. Because royalties are tax deductible, and it's just not in Ghana. It's not only in Ghana that is tax deductible. In fact, the whole of Africa, it's only in Tanzania that you cannot deduct your royalties from your cost. So it helps you to front load some of your revenue ahead of time, which is good for us. Look at the mineral royalties and what we do with it in some of the districts. So minister has now listened with the sliding scale. We believe it is the best option because the investor will view that and say, at this price, I can model. At that price, I can model my field because it's very clear in the law.
But when this investor was not complaining when it was around $700 and wanted the agreement ratified, must it be an argument of whether the investor was worried about the current rate, which today is around 1,300, and therefore we had to withdraw the 10% to say let's bring in 5% earlier, now a sliding scale one?
In the earlier part, who said the price was lower than now? It wasn't. There was a high price in 2020.
In 2024, how much was it?
I can't give you the exact figure, but this is the trend of the lithium price. It was higher in early 2016-17 because remember, it was a transition mineral. Electric cars were coming up, and the new era was for electric cars, and especially when Tesla built its bigger factory. So it went really up. In fact, it went really up that most people went to invest in lithium as a result of the price. And then it collapsed from 2023 coming. Significantly, it came down significantly.
So that's where my argument is that this same in 2024 they were trying to push this ratification, not so. When the prices we understand had collapsed, so now that it is doing better, why do we still hold on to the argument of the prices are not doing better now, and so we have to find a way to make sure that the investor is sort of relieved?
When you are, I have to say this, when you are investing or when you are dealing with a private company, you have to make sure that you also have to have your model. In 2024, I doubt they were pushing for, I think one of the best questions you should ask is, why was it not passed? It's very important for you to ask that question. I don't think the investor was happy with the 10%. In fact, some of our members had raised concerns that even the 10% the investor had, they were doubting whether the investor will get investment. Remember that you would need to raise money. And at some point, when prices collapse, it may be very difficult for you to raise that money. So you can still get the lease and probably not be able to put in the adequate investment that you may need because your fiscals may not be right. Because if you come to me for an investment, I will look at all those things before I'll make an investment decision to put my money or not. So at that point, I don't think the investor was really happy with the 10%. And I don't think the prices were so low as you have said. And then I will check the lithium price anyway, but I don't think it was so low because when you look at the trend, it has been coming down.
But I mean, in 2024, you even alluded to the fact that from 2021 to 2022, the price started coming down. We know that it came around $700. Now it has risen, and that's why we're asking that question. But you say that this is the right way to go. The sliding scale is the best.
Yes, because with the sliding scale, you give the opportunity for the investor to be able to at least invest one, and whenever the price is higher, you are able to also capture the gains that the investor may make as well through your sliding scale. And it is not new. In all our development agreements with the gold sector, we have it. So
Samobekwe, I'm grateful to you for joining. Let's just bring in a member of the Lands Committee of Parliament, Akwesi Kunedu. Akwesi, I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining. Now, the explanation is that the sliding scale is the best. It helps Ghana gain more than we were going to fix ourselves in. You disagree?
Let me say a very good evening to you. First and foremost, I disagree to that. I mean, a sliding scale ordinarily by itself will not let the country gain. It is about what you do with the sliding scale, what percentages you put in the sliding scale, and what price band ranges that you put in the sliding scale. The current proposal by the minister, in terms of the ally that he would want to bring, will not let Ghana benefit the way we ought to benefit. First and foremost, the lithium agreement, initially when it came, we had 10% in it in last year, and they brought 5%. When we inquired, they told us that the 10% was not in legislation, and therefore it was an illegal act, and it ought to be legislated. So in any case, that was even not an argument that was solid and valid enough. But if you are going to legislate and put that percentage that you said was even illegal and was even low, you don't stand from a bandwidth of 5%. Currently what they are doing is that they are going to give us a bandwidth of all the minerals that we have, putting the initial bandwidth so high and the rate of royalties very low.
But is this enough to call on the minister to resign?
First and foremost, one, he brought in a policy. We told him the policy was not right. He kept insisting on the policy. And now what he even has before us, as what he terms as the sliding scale, is much more weaker in terms of a financial arrangement on the base of Ghana's benefit than what he previously brought. Because if we let this hurriedly go in, what we are going to do is that we are going to box ourselves in at very low rates, but at high prices before those high prices can come in. He's only trying to tell us that because currently gold prices are at about 4,300, on the sliding scale, he's put a 10% there.
Well, but that 10% kicks in at $2,301. Yours was at $3,000. So there's some better arrangement here.
There's no better arrangement here because the point is this. Once you put a sliding scale, you are fixing yourself to it. And he's putting a lower start rate. Look, what we have currently is that up until gold prices go above 1,900, we aren't going to have anything more than 5%. Let us not look only to what the price of gold are today or the price of lithium is today and use that as a benchmark. But in any case, let me ask you, when lithium prices were 800 and 700, the company was willing to pay a 10% royalty to Ghana. So what is the point about you now putting it at 1,500 for 5%, 1,800, 1,500 to 2,300 at 6%, and more up until it hits a certain point of about 3,200, we cannot benefit from a 10% royalty.
I'm grateful to you, Akwesi Konedu is member of the Land Committee of Parliament. My name is Samuel Kojo. Up next is NewsNight.
And coming up on NewsNight tonight, government endorses Asante Hene's mediation efforts in Boko, allocating 1 billion Ghana cedis to revive the area's economy ravaged by years of conflict, plus ensuring Alhaji Saidu Abagri's safe passage to Naira-Rigu, a crucial step towards reconciliation.
It will be untenable for anyone to hold that Sigru Abugrabo Azoka is not the Boko Naba, requires that Mr. Saidu Abagari be recalled to Naira-Rigu by the Nairi to be reassigned to play another traditional role at the Palace of the Nairi, assisted by the state.
Also tonight, minority in parliament berates government for deploying soldiers to Jamaica and allegedly to Benin, to describing the moves as completely misplaced.
We are demanding answers from the Minister for Defense, from all the relevant agencies who took this decision. They are misplaced priority, and we cannot watch on unconcerned.
We have details as they demand urgent briefings from the Defense and Foreign Affairs Ministers. Also tonight, the Media Coalition Against Galamsey raises alarm over dangerous cyanide used by unregulated small-scale miners, warning of imminent threats to water resources and mining communities.
Some of the small-scale miners, without the necessary regulation from the EPA, the Minerals Commission, are beginning to do some cyanide use, and which is very dangerous because the concentrations at which they are working at.
Coming up in business,
IMF Executive Board approves Ghana's 5th program review, paving the way for disbursement of some $380 million.
In sports,
and so we'll tell you why Ghana is set to make over $10 million for participating in the 2025.
And a bit later, a countdown is on. Only 9 days left until the ultimate party experience, Joy FM Family Party in the Park, hits Obri Botanical Gardens on Boxing Day. We'll tell you about preparations for the biggest event this Christmas. Details of these and many other stories coming up in the next 60 minutes. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi, you can be a part of this conversation by sending us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. Details shortly.
Auntie T, I beg. Fix me go betete Ghana. No gari, no oil, no plantain, just beans then eggs.
Hey, brah, that be dangerous combination, no.
Problem no day. I feel handle am.
For Telecel, with the Bob say everybody gets what they like. That be why Made For Me bundles day. Based on your usage, you fit get your own data and call packages. Fala! Made For Me bundles like the way you the want them. That *530#, then buy Made For Me bundles today.
Telecel, connecting energies.
From Lagos to London, from New York to Kingston, from Durban to Korle Ghana, everyone is coming to Ghana to taste the culture. On the 26th of December, the Black Star Square becomes the heartbeat of the continent. With Black Sheriff, Omale, Tiwa Savage, King Promise, Jackie, Amare, and more on stage. It's Taste the Culture, the Black Star Experience. Hashtag Taste the Culture is sponsored by Kivo, Goyle, MTN, Bost Energies, Ghana Gas, and supported by New Gas, Softcare, and GNPC. For tickets, dial *714*91# or visit www.tastetheculturegh.com.
In my head, everything I touch is blessing. All I see is blessings, and no man can stop me. Send them away, evil eyes don't watch me.
In December 2023, the biggest play in the history of African theatre made its debut.
Before Ogun, the God of Iron, I stand on oath.
You saw it.
We sent you all the way to Ileife to bring us greetings from Ifa.
By popular demand and in honor of Maoli Semevo, Image Bureau, in partnership with April Communications and the National Theatre, presents The Gods Are Not to Blame. This December 17th, 7 p.m., 18th, 7 p.m., and 19th, 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. at the National Theatre. Visit www.imagebureaugh.com or dial *714*46# for your tickets. Single 250 cedis, double 400 cedis. Supported by Niplant Car Rentals, Ghana Tourism Authority, Balakwa, Graphic Communications Group, and Notify. Sponsors: The Luckiest, Stanbic Bank, Joy FM, Hits FM, Joy Prime TV, and proudly brought to you by MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks, and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first port of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery, and equipment. Visit our head office,
Takweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Temania Community 4, Takoradi opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast University Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic Centerpoint Mall, Winneba University Campus, KNUST, the University Bookshop, and Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit our shop online, www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764-101. Email info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
No matter where we are, Africa always calls us home. And here in Ghana, the call is clear: to power growth and create lasting impact. At Stanbic Corporate and Investment Banking, we are creating giants and connecting businesses. From financing bold energy projects to enabling cleaner, reliable power for industries, we are fueling Ghana's transformation. With our support, Gensa Energy is delivering sustainable energy that powers Goldfields operations, helping them move closer to cleaner, greener mining. This is a story of how we bring businesses together, create jobs, empower communities, and invest in the next generation. Stanbic Bank, delivering sustainable growth, creating impact. To learn more, visit stanbicbank.com.gh.
You're welcome back to NewsNight, and tonight government has endorsed the Boku mediation report by the Asantehene Otunfo Osei Tutu II and directed the return of the rival chief Alhaji Seidu Abagri to Nalaregu under the authority of the Nairi. In an official statement released today and signed by the spokesperson to the president, Felix Kwachiofosu, government accepted all recommendations in the report presented on Tuesday, affirming the Supreme Court's position on the rightful Boku overlord. Well, first listen to the Asantehene on some key findings and recommendations in the report.
I have, from the inception, restrained both governments from effecting the arrest of Mr. Seidu Abagari out of respect for my brother, the Nairi. The final resolution of the Boku matters requires that Mr. Seidu Abagari be recalled to Nalerigu by the Nairi to be reassigned to play another traditional role at the palace of the Nairi assisted by the state. Alternatively, he may choose to stay in Boku as an ordinary citizen of the community, but not to pose as Boku Naba. The final recommendation, Mr. President, I recommend that my brother, the Nairi, accepts the laws as presently constituting Sigri Ebugrabu Azoka as the chief of Boku and head chief of the Kusasi traditional area. We chiefs, no matter how exalted, do not live above the Constitution of Ghana and the laws duly enacted and affirmed by the courts. Accordingly, the laws which recognizes Asigri Ebugrabu Azoka must be enforced by the government of the Republic of Ghana until changed in accordance with the 1992 Constitution or reviewed by the Supreme Court of Ghana.
Well, the Asantehene, as part of the recommendations, also wants government to be firm in the reconciliation process to bring lasting solution to the area.
The government must enforce the laws and deal sternly with any person challenging the lawful authority of Abugra Asoga. This is critical to the restoration and maintenance of peace in Kusasi traditional area. I wish to thank you, Mr. President, and your predecessor for reposing such confidence in me and tasking me with the mediation of this conflict with a view to finding a lasting solution. I also want to thank the Nairi and the Bokunaba for their efforts relative to this mediation process. The various chiefs or heads of various communities whom I met in the area who also participated in this endeavor deserve positive commendation.
So that's the Asantehene Otunfo Osei Tutu II at the Jubilee House yesterday when he presented the report of his mediation efforts to President John Mahama, and the government stated that the report provides a comprehensive, fact-based and forward-looking roadmap for lasting peace in the conflict-ridden area. And my colleague Michael Ashale is joining me in studio with details of the two-paged statement from government. Michael, let's start with what government intends to do with Otunfo's report.
So in a two-page statement, you rightly said, the government started by saying that it fully endorses and accepts all the findings and recommendations contained in the mediation report. It goes on to say that the report constitutes a comprehensive, fact-based and forward-looking roadmap aimed exclusively at achieving lasting peace, reconciliation and stability in Boku and its surrounding areas. It is not intended to apportion blame or confer victory on any party. And then he says, in particular, the government affirms the unequivocal position of the law as consistently upheld by the Supreme Court of Ghana that Naba Asigri Abugrago Azoka II is the lawful Boku Naba, and that no individual or group is permitted under any circumstance to contest his authority or legitimacy.
Otunfo was quite clear that Nairi is expected to recall the rival chief that was installed in Boku. How is government expecting to go about this?
So Otunfo was clear that that chief has to be recalled back to the Nairi, or he could alternatively live in Boku, but as a normal citizen and not as a chief. Government says it accepts the recommendations that Alhaji Seidu Abagri, who was installed as a rival claimant to the Boku chieftaincy, be recalled to Naleregu by the overlord of Mamprugu, the Nairi, to assume an alternative traditional role with the necessary facilitation and support of the state. And then concludes and tells us how exactly it's going to do that. It said, pursuant to this recommendation by the Majesty, Otunfo said to the second, the government will immediately facilitate the safe movement of Alhaji Saidu Abagri to Nalerigu, where he shall remain available to receive the directives of the Nayiri.
Michael, and finally, years of conflict, as we already know, has done one thing to Boko, and that is stagnated development. What does government plan to do about that?
Well, government says that insecurity over the years has severely constrained public and private investment and stalled critical infrastructure development. In response, President John Mahama has directed the Minister of Finance to establish a 1 billion Ghana cedis Boko Revitalization Fund. It says the fund, which shall be disbursed over a 3-year period between 2026 and 2028, will be dedicated to the reconstruction and development of priority infrastructure, including roads, healthcare, education, dam and irrigation facilities for all year-round agriculture, security installations, and economic and commercial facilities in Boko.
Michael Ashali, thank you very much. Let's go to the Upper East region and speak to our resident correspondent, Albert. Sorry, Albert, it's been more than 24 hours since the Asantehene submitted this report to the president. What has been the general mood in Boko as we speak?
There have been some jubilations from some of the people who agreed with the outcome of the mediation. There are some people who are also rejoicing because they believe that peace will finally return to the Boko municipality. Contrary to fears that some people had, that if there were some sorts of disagreements to the outcome of the mediation, there could be some disturbances. We haven't witnessed anything of the sort. The town has been quiet since from yesterday when the Asantehene addressed that press conference and made his findings known. The whole of today, we haven't heard of any incident whatsoever in Boko. But we do also know that security has been beefed up in the area for the last 24 hours. We've seen more men on the ground, a number of roadblocks on various entry points leading into the town as well.
And Albert, although this is not related, but there were some gun attacks in Wale earlier today. You've been speaking to some of the people in the area. What have they been telling you?
We do not know if this attack has any direct linkage to the outcome of the mediation. What we know is that the bus, which was attacked by some gunmen, had some passengers in it. We are told that 2 of them are in serious condition and several others are injured and receiving treatment. Beyond that, the security agencies tell us that they are investigating the incident, and so this is all that we know about it as we speak.
Albert, sorry, thank you very much. We can now listen to some of the individuals who were affected by the early gun attacks in Wale.
From Morga. And because we didn't get enough passengers in Morga, the VVIP here invited us that we should come for top-up. The bus was full and we have moved going towards Tamale. So on reaching the hilltop there, the outskirts there, then I saw 2 tires on fire in the middle of the road. So I stopped. There I heard gunshot. The first I thought, because we are in the Xmas mood, I thought people were making fun. There I heard gunshot again. Then the last one that they fired entered the bus and hit my brother's head. So what I did was I opened the door for everyone to run for her or his yalla. So I also made my way through the bush. I came across and then entered the road here and reported to the police, to the hospital. Why I didn't know that the police had taken me. So later I came here and found him lying down. What time was it? It was some few minutes after 6 o'clock. Yes, it was few minutes after 6 o'clock. Transfer James Nyan.
Well, let's take you to the House of Legislature now, because the minority in Parliament says government's decision to deploy troops to Jamaica for reconstruction after a hurricane destroyed public and private infrastructure in that country is completely unnecessary. The troops in question are from the Engineering Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces, where the minority also claimed the government is deploying soldiers to Benin after a recent coup attempt. Speaking to journalists in Parliament, ranking member on the Defence and Interior Committee described the moves as misplaced. We will get more from our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent shortly, but first, President John Dramani Mahama has urged 54 soldiers from the Engineers Corps who have been deployed to Jamaica to let their conduct reflect the values, discipline and humanity of the Ghanaian soldier. He spoke at a farewell ceremony for them.
Ghana has consistently stood for international solidarity, humanitarian assistance and global responsibility. Our nation understands the pain of natural disasters and the long road to recovery. Today's mission reinforces Ghana's commitment to humanitarian response, disaster recovery and reconstruction, and South-South cooperation, Pan-African and Afro-Caribbean solidarity. I commend the Ghana Armed Forces for their professionalism, for their discipline, and their readiness to serve not only at home, but anywhere in the world duty calls. This mission is not a combat mission. It is a mission of compassion, skill, and service. After we dispatched the first batch of humanitarian assistance, I made a phone call to the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Honorable Andrew Holness, to express Ghana's solidarity with the people of Jamaica. He thanked me for the assistance we had dispatched, and in our discussion, he said what they need currently is assistance with rebuilding and providing shelter for the people who have been displaced. And so I offered to send a regiment of our engineering corps to help with the assistance, and also send them some tents to provide temporary shelter. We are dispatching those tents by sea so that we can provide temporary shelter. But in the meantime, our troops are going to help with reconstruction, with building, and also providing support for the people of Jamaica.
President John Dramani Mahama there. We can now listen to the Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, who also says that this demonstrates to the people and government of Jamaica that Ghana stands with them in solidarity and that they are not alone.
In addition to the humanitarian support sent, has decided that today we need to deploy our troops following a request formally made by the Prime Minister of Jamaica. His Excellency the President is really pleased that the Ghana Armed Forces is responding to this call. And as a nation, are grateful to our gallant men and women in uniform for always making Ghana proud in various theaters across the world. As a top 5 UN troop contributing country, our armed forces have held high the flag of Ghana and have brought honor and have brought pride to us anywhere they have been deployed. And we have no doubt that on this special mission by His Excellency the President, they will once again hold high the flag of Ghana and make us proud.
Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa is the Foreign Affairs Minister. Let's now hear from the ranking member on the Defence and Interior Committee, John Intim Kojo, who has described the moves as misplaced.
We woke up to the news of Ghana sending troops to Benin. And these troops that are committed to some undertakings in Benin ought to have come to the attention of Parliament for prior approval. Today, we also have woken up to the news of government sending troops, military troops to Jamaica to assist on some humanitarian grounds and some reconstruction undertakings. We don't have any problem with the principles of assistance to these countries we have mentioned. However, the procedures that should have been followed and the due process of consulting this august house, this Parliament House, in such decisions for us to be able to interrogate, to ensure transparency in the modalities, the framework, even the various costs that the state will incur, how long all these decisions taken will persist. Certainly when they sought to buy helicopters, they had to consult Parliament. So how come when you want to deploy troops to Benin, you do not consult Parliament? When you want to deploy troops to Jamaica, you do not consult Parliament. What are they hiding within this process? Sending troops to Benin, we need to understand which protocols under which this deployment is going to be undertaken, how many troops are going to be sent, how long this operation is going to be undertaken, and what is the cost to the state? How much is it going to cost the state for these troops deployed to Benin that will be incurred as a result of this decision? We have to ask all these questions. We are demanding answers from the Minister for Defense, from all the relevant agencies who took this decision.
That's John Intim Kojo there. He's the ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. Let's now bring in our resident correspondent from Parliament, Kweku Asante, who's joining us on the telephone lines for more. Kweku, before this news conference, the minority leader had raised similar issues on the floor. What did he say?
Well, according to Alexander Fejomakin, the government could not have gone ahead with the deployment of Ghanaian troops as well as using Ghanaian resources to send relief items to Jamaica without first briefing Parliament. His demand was anchored on the fact that the Minister for Defense or Foreign Affairs ought to have come to Parliament to brief MPs before taking these decisions.
Regarding all these items that are being shipped out of the country, Mr. Speaker, yesterday we read in the news that some relief items were being shipped, and the military high command had gone to inspect these items before shipment. I've checked with my colleague, the ranking on Defense and Interior, as to whether or not the committee on this, the committee has been involved in any of these. He says no. Mr. Speaker, I think that the major policy decision like this must receive at least the blessings of Parliament. We are here as part of the ecosystem in the governance of the country. It cannot be that the members of Parliament would have to be reading this in the news. And when we have ministers who are first to come and signal us of this policy, that look, there is some disaster, the hurricane that struck Jamaica, and Ghana has a bilateral relationship with the good people of Jamaica. As part of that, we are committing $10 million, $5 million in relief items, and list the various items that are going to be delivered. Mr. Speaker, if the ministers decide not to take this house serious, then what other forum would they take serious?
Well, Kweku, so the minority leader is also insisting there are issues to be focused on in Ghana instead of seeking to support other countries. Why did he say that?
Well, yes, according to him, there are significant problems in the country. In fact, there have been recent floods, people have not been sorted out, and the government of Ghana is doing what is known in local parlance as outside gentility home cry, and using resources to sort out foreigners while there are challenges locally.
All we hear is some amount of relief is being provided. We don't know how these items were procured, the processes involved in the procurement, which agency is donating these items to central government, how these items came about. Mr. Speaker, no. In this country, we have serious disasters. The recent flooding in the country, we know that people have been calling for relief. NADMO has been telling us that they don't have stock. So we need to understand, we know that the government would have to balance its obligation in foreign relations. But when you do not have enough to feed your own at home, doing international charity will require a curious concern Mr. Speaker, I am asking, Mr. Speaker, it is very important that we are briefed the extent to which this is being done. Honorable Majority Leader, I believe that the ball is in your court.
And Kweku, have the Ministers of Defense and Foreign Affairs appeared before Parliament on this matter yet, as demanded by the minority?
Well, the acting Minister for Defense, Dr. Councillor Soforton, has been in Parliament all day, but on subjects relating to his Finance Ministry brief. But just moments ago, the Foreign Minister, Samuel Kojo Blackwell, came here, defending the decision. He says the government of Ghana will continue to play its role in the international order. When there are challenges and Ghana can help, it will always do so.
Quick question to reports to us from Parliament. Thank you very much. Let's now get on the telephone lines and speak to Professor Daniel Kipo-Sinyezi. He's an international relations expert. Glad he could join us this evening. From an international relations perspective, what strategic or diplomatic interest does Ghana really stand to gain by deploying military engineers to Jamaica for post-hurricane reconstruction?
Thank you very much. And also thank the in diplomatic practice, I think that Ghana has had a very cordial diplomatic relation with Jamaica for several years, the date of Ikoma up to date. So it's appropriate. I even think that Ghana might have even delayed in providing such humanitarian aid to Jamaica, because looking at the time of the disaster, the hurricane, and also we expected Ghana to have acted much more earlier than this. So it's appropriate. I don't think there's anything wrong. Ghana is what is right. Possibly the minority is also seeing a point that we should not brush it aside. But the role of minority is to keep government on check, and that is government in waiting. So they are appropriate to criticize. But I do not think that it is every aid that government provides that you have to see Parliament over. That will make the legislators be burdened with daily activities. Because government of Ghana has such approval for budget, the Parliament has approved interior, has approved defense. And it's now the executive to execute it. And I do not think it's at every stage that the executive will have to see Parliament to approve that. I think that could be cumbersome. That is why the executives are doing what has good for them. And I'm sure this humanitarian aid is in line with Ghana's own budget for external relations. For that matter, I think government is right, and government is doing what is right.
Professor Kipo-Sinyezi, let's talk about neighboring Benin, and considering claims about possible troop deployment to Benin following a coup attempt. What really are the regional security considerations, and how might such deployments affect Ghana's role and credibility within the West African bloc, ECOWAS?
All right. Yes. So we all read not quite long the unfortunate thing that happened in Benin. Benin is one of the most stable democracies in West Africa. You look at Senegal, Ghana, Benin become the next one with a very good democracy. I personally was very sad that Benin was at the verge of coup when the announcement came. So, but I think ECOWAS intervention, I support it. At the same time, also worry with ECOWAS always delaying, waiting until the worst thing happens. I always think ECOWAS may have to come out of the non-interference domestic affairs. I think Benin President Patrice also some of his actions actually demand that such a thing could happen. So the power that is given to you must exercise it in a very measured manner. So it tells us that our democratic leaders must go by the own constitution that has given to them. They must be measured by their actions. So I think that if ECOWAS can intervene in internal matters when they are seeing the early warning signs, rather than waiting for the West before you start sending troops or even going for monitoring and enforcement of this kind of thing. I think the ECOWAS should be proactive. And Ghana is contributing troops to this thing. I think it's appropriate. Ghana is not alone. Senegal is part of that. Ivory Coast, they are part. at least to bring stability. If Benin is in trouble, Nigeria will be, Togo will not be free, Ghana will not be free. Refugees here and there, the crisis will create problems. So trying to stabilize the country, I think it is appropriate, even though it's a bit late. But it's still appropriate. ECOWAS stand with Benin too. As I said it, they have a very stable democracy who must do everything to protect it.
Professor Daniel Kipo-Sinyezi, glad he could join me this evening. He's an international relations expert, and that brings us to business. And George Riafe is here with the latest. George, what have you got for us?
Well, coming up, IMF Executive Board approves Ghana's fifth program review, paving the way for disbursement of $380 million. And more oil marketing companies indicate preparedness to drop fuel prices before Friday as Shell and Petrocel take the lead in reviewing their numbers at the pumps. The business news on NewsNight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. Synthesis Tanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Mappé. Et mappé. Hey, Asamo. French idiot. This is midi croissant.
Meet Aja. She makes sobolo in a small shop in Kaswa. She's going places with MTN Ejumapa. Now, she's learning French kakra to teach her francophone customers indigenous recipes.
Watashi no namae wa.
Watashi no na. My boy.
Whoa. She's learning Japanese too? Watash. What? Echa sobolo to the whole Gyasi. If you're a woman with a small business, join MTN Ejumapa today by dialing *5060# and enjoy 150 megabytes data, a lifestyle bundle for social media, free MTN to MTN calls every Monday, and an insurance cover. You will also gain access to expert training, discounts on digital tools, and financial support to grow the business of your dreams. Terms and conditions apply. MTN.
Fidelity Bank say save and win. Muntio, Sika boom. Just deposit and begin. Every 500 CDs you keep for a month, you get 1 point all at once. More deposits, gets more points in. More points, more cash you feel win. How many points? 1 point every 500 CDs. What if you win? 5,000 CDs monthly. And the grand prize? Hey! 100,000 Ghana CDs.
Don't wait. Visit any Fidelity branch or agent nationwide to deposit in multiples of 500 CDs. The more you deposit, the better your chances to win 5,000 CDs monthly and 100,000 CDs in the grand draw. Terms and conditions apply. Win with us. Fidelity Bank, believe with us.
Sika-boom.
This is an NLA approved promo, now running on the Caritas Lottery platform.
At Star Oil, we believe fuel is not just a commodity, it is a lifeline. Every cedi saved at the pump is a cedi that helps a mother send her child to school, a farmer transports food to the market, or a young entrepreneur deliver their first order. Our mission is to make fuel more accessible by offering consistently competitive prices, helping ease the financial burden on Ghanaian households. In a country where transportation costs can consume nearly a third of household income, this is not just business. It's a social responsibility. Star Oil, still quality and affordable fuels for all.
For many years, we've been solving Ghana's water storage problems with quality tanks. Syntex tank. You know, it is strong, it's tough, and reliable. And now, we're in to solve the #1 problem when it comes to water carriage: our pipes. With the state-of-the-art machinery, Syntex is providing very strong, tough, reliable, high-quality, and durable pipes at a reasonable price. This is Syntex Pipes. With Syntex Pipes, water flows wow. I mean, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. If they carry water, no wahala. With Syntex Pipe, our water problems are solved. Syntex, are you strong? Are you tough?
subscribe today.
Brushing gets more fun with your kids with the new Pepsodent Kids toothpaste. Give your smiles protection that lasts. Grab yours today from a store near you. This advert is FDA approved.
Hello? Hello, Auntie Abena. You won't believe what just happened. Grandma received her 4 TV. 4 TV? Yes, 4.
Okay, I'm coming. Kojo, me there, what? It's like a scandal now. You are using it to spread grandma like that. Spread grandma? 4 TVs, 2 fridges, microwave. Abba, Kojo, why? You want to open an electrical shop for her?
Hey, no. Eh? It's a regular 100 cities I send her.
Let's call grandma.
Hello?
Hey, grandma. So who is buying all those stuff for
The
you?
luckiest. If they told me 5 times a year.
Yes, so with the luckiest, anytime you buy tickets up to 100 cities, whether small or at once, you are guaranteed to win a free gift. TV sets, fridges, hampers, airtime, cash. Freebies they drop like rain. Remember to dial *712#, choose option 4 and follow the prompt. With the luckiest, everybody gets to win something.
If I win, you win.
Holiday magic awaits at the Pelican Hotel Cantonment Accra. Start the festive season with a Christmas Eve feast at the Beak Restaurant. Bring the children on Christmas Day for time with Santa at the Jolie Lux Brunch and dazzle in the merry and majestic night feast as well. True Ghanaian gourmet and entertainment is set for a Boxing Day sunset brunch at the Atrium. Dance under the stars with fireworks at the Sparkling Symphony Gala after 5 luxurious courses with a celebrity DJ on New Year's Eve. On New Year's Day, have brunch or dinner with loved ones at the Beak Restaurant. Secure your festive experience today at the Pelican Hotel Cantonment Accra from 650 Ghana cedis only. Call 050-309-1539 to book now. The Pelican Hotel Cantonment Accra. Your stay, your way.
Welcome back to Business on NewsNight. Now, the executive board of the IMF has finally approved Ghana's fifth review at a meeting in Washington, D.C., USA today. Now, this should pave the way for some $380 million to be disbursed to Ghana. There is more in this report.
Joy Business understands that the board went ahead to approve the report after it met in Washington, D.C., USA today to review some of the key benchmarks and targets under the program. Again, Joy Business is learning that the board took this decision based on some significant progress Ghana has made under the program when it comes to the fifth review. The staff report is expected to be released in the coming hours, giving more details about how Ghana has performed under the program so far and any other concerns the fund has about the economy. The development could lead to the IMF board authorizing the disbursement of about $380 million to the Bank of Ghana. Joy Business understands that the funds could hit the Bank of Ghana's account before the end of 2025. For some, the development is not about the funds that will be disbursed, but rather the signal it will send to donors and investors about the progress government is taking to firmly stabilize the economy.
And that is the Business Desk report. Now, more oil marketing companies have indicated their preparedness to drop fuel prices before this Friday is coming after Shell and Petrosol took the lead this morning by reducing prices of petroleum products at the pumps. Now, there are currently more than 200 oil marketing companies in Ghana, and there are fears that majority of them could keep their prices unchanged. But some of them have argued that they are working to change the prices. Now, meanwhile, the chief executive of Star Oil, Philip Teku, in an earlier interview with Joy Business, had explained why it takes a while before majority of these oil marketing companies review their prices at the pumps.
We have a lot of players in the industry that have dealers, right? They have dealers who buy the product and sell at the station. If you invoice to a dealer at a price of 12 cedis and the next day you drop it to 11.5, the dealer's margin may be 30 pesos per liter. Suddenly, that transaction is a loss to the dealer. So when you are dropping price, you need to be careful of the effects on the dealer. So sometimes OMCs delay in that process of dropping purely because they want to manage the financial impact on the dealer. But for those of us who are OMCs that don't use the dealer model, we own the stocks at the stations 100%. Prices go up, we benefit as a company. We get a windfall effect. When prices are coming down, we take a hit because the stock also belongs to us.
And that is Chief Executive of Star Oil, Philip Tieku, in an earlier interview with Joy Business, explaining why it takes some time before the oil marketing firms move to adjust prices at the pumps. The majority of domestic tourist movement in 2023 was influenced by family visits, friends and funerals. Now this was contained in the latest domestic visitor survey put together by the Ghana Statistical Service. Majority of these visits were more of social than business related. In terms of age bracket, majority of these persons were between 22 and 44 years, whilst in terms of gender, there were more women than men. The about 6.6 billion Ghana cedis were spent in 2023, went mainly into transport, shopping, food, and local services. Let's hear from the government statistician, Dr. Alhassan Idrisu, addressing these concerns when it comes to why most of these visits are more social driven than business.
Funerals, you are visiting friends and relatives, you have business and professional, you have shopping. People could also embark on tourism for health treatment. You have holidays, leisure and recreation. You have education and training. You have religion and pilgrimage. You have culture and festival. And then you have sporting activities. So all of these are a spectrum of the purpose for which people can embark on domestic tourism, whether same day or overnight. We see an opportunity here. Given that funerals and visiting of friends and relatives takes over 70% of the reasons for visit. It means that we can actually do better in a country to explore the opportunities in the other spectrum.
Dr. Alhassan Idrisu. Dr. Idrisu Alhassan is the chief government statistician. Now, Deloitte Ghana has expressed its commitment of driving positive change for people in the society in which it operates. As such, the firm's consulting services today donated items and an undisclosed amount of money to the Nyamidua orphanage here at Nanakrom in Accra. Here is Kofi Ewoyaa, his strategy and risk partner at the accounting firm Deloitte.
We do that from time to time, and we also impart our people, that is our staff, and of course the community in terms of the clients that we work for, and of course the community where we are. So this year we decided from the consulting services on behalf of the entire firm to come and show love to the orphanage of Nyamidua, and we are happy to be here. I think we are here to show love and to just bring this token to the kids here, so that as we all celebrate enjoying the season, we'll also touch lives and also make sure that the kids that are here also smile and also have the cause to long for more Christmas and more celebration.
And that is strategy and risk partner at accounting firm Deloitte, Kofi Ewoyaa. Let's turn our attention to the stock market and Cal Bank and GCB Bank were the only equities on the Ghana Stock Exchange that saw some price movement at the end of trading on the market. Now, if you are a shareholder of GCB Bank, each value that you are holding was up by 7 pesos to close at 19 Ghana cedis, 58 pesos. That of Cal Bank was also up by 4 pesos and is now worth 58 pesos. Now, for investors who had invested on the Ghana Stock Exchange from the beginning of the year to now, they made a return of more than 90%. And that is all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Kenneth.
Thank you very much, George. It's now time for sports, and Mr. Razak Musbao is in the studio with the latest. Mr. Musbao, what do you have for us?
Hello, Mr. Ken. Well, let's get into it now, because we're building up to the AFCON. We're now some 3 days away to the start of the AFCON, and of course, that is happening on Sunday. And once again, reminding you that we are bringing you AFCON Today. It's a special show where we'll be bringing you an update on all that will be happening each day as the AFCON unfolds. And it's going to start, that show is going to be airing on Joy Prime. It will start on Sunday, so make a day for the entire Joy Sports team as we bring you up-to-the-minute update on all that will be happening in this AFCON. But let me take you to the walk-up now, because Ghana is set to get some $10.5 million Ken, $10.5 million. And that's the minimum amount of money Ghana will get for qualifying for the World Cup. And this follows FIFA's approval of a record-breaking $727 million financial package for the expanded tournament. Remember, this tournament is going to have some 48 teams participating, and the least amount of money each country will go home with is $10.5 million. Now, some $1.5 million will be given to all the countries as money which they will use to prepare for the tournament.
Right.
Then, even if you place 48th, you get to go home with $9 million. So
bad.
even if you go for the World Cup and you lose all the games of the World Cup, you go home with $9 million.
Not bad.
So plus the 1.5 that they will give you as seed fund for you to prepare, plus the 9 million, you get $10.5 million. So that's the least amount Ghana is going to get. But what if Ghana goes beyond the group stage? Now, if they go beyond the group stage, say Ghana makes it to the quarterfinal stage, Ghana will go home with some $15 million. If you make it to the round of 16, $50 million. Now, if we do better and we get to the quarterfinals, you're talking about $19 million.
Okay.
There's money in there. The Black Stars have potential of bringing us some foreign exchange.
I'm very
now,
skeptical
if
about
they
them,
go
by the way.
all the way to the semi-final and say they come fourth, they get $27 million. If they come third, they get $29 million. Now, what if Ghana comes second? We don't win the title, but we come second. $33 million. I mean, Chade, and we win the trophy. $50 million. You can imagine what we can, the finance minister, Ato Forsen, can use that
It's
for.
the hope that kills you.
But no,
Can
this
we
is
win, though?
this is the prize at stake. This is the prize at stake.
Right,
And if
considering all things.
you can imagine if all of this money comes to the country, what it would do for us. All right. So
Sports.
this is what is at stake. $9 million, even if we exit from the group stage, plus 1.5, $10.5 million. But if as we do well and the competition progresses, we get some good money on top of that. So that's what is at stake now, and we'll see how much the Black Stars can get. But guaranteed, $10.5 million. In Ghana cedis, guess how much that is?
Tell me.
120 million Ghana cedis.
That could do a lot for a sport.
That's good money.
It is.
It's good money. Yeah, that's it for sports.
Thank you very much, Musbao. And the Media Coalition Against Galamsey has raised alarm over the growing use of cyanide by small-scale and illegal miners, warning that the practice poses severe threat to lives and the environment. Convener of the group, Ken Ashigbe, says unlike large-scale firms that operate under strict controls, these miners lack safety systems and protective equipment, increasing the likelihood of cyanide leaks into underground and surface water.
Generally, the large-scale miners do cyanidation, but they do it under very strict regulatory control and the protection and the facilities that they do to make sure that nothing leaks from the cyanide points. But unfortunately, some of the small-scale miners, without the necessary regulation from the EPA, the Minerals Commission, are beginning to do some cyanidation, and which is very dangerous because the concentrations at which they are working at and the lack of the right protection and PPEs and all of that, the risk of the cyanide leaking into underground water and to water systems very high. And because of the level of concentration that they're doing it, when that happens, the likelihood that the whole community could be wiped out is very, very eminent. And as an industry, we have reached out to the regulators to look at this. National security also has to pay attention to it.
And with just 9 days to the much-anticipated Joy FM family party in the park on December 26th, well, preparations are intensifying at the event venue in Abri as organizers put final touches to the venue. Well, earlier today, organizers were on site carrying out key planning activities. And my colleague Michelle Latte joins me in studio now with updates on what really went on and what families can expect. Michelle, you were at the event grounds today. What stood out from the preparations on the ground?
So today was mainly about the final coordinations, putting the final preparations into, you're looking at putting in the final preparations. The organizers, that's the multimedia group, were there. They came together to discuss how they are going to allocate the setup areas and places where they are going to put the stands, all the exciting activities you're expecting. the places that have been allocated, the security arrangements to ensure that everything that goes on during the event goes on smoothly, and putting in health and safety measures also. So it was clear that preparations are far advanced, and we are geared towards having a very smooth and safe experience for all the families who are going to be present at the event on the 26th.
This is obviously a family affair. So for parents planning to attend, what activities and experiences are available for them?
Well, for parents, there's a lot for them in store. We are looking at the Ghana village, where we are going to enjoy a lot of Ghanaian food. We are looking at a lot of local drinks. We are seeing exhibition of Ghanaian attires. So we are looking at that. We are expecting some performances from Kwampa, some Zomizo, from Dope Nation, and some other major performances that are going to happen. But let's hear from the general manager in charge of sales and marketing here at Multimedia, Max Fuga.
We also have the Daddy's Corner, or the Adults Corner, as you may call it. If it is for daddies, yes, everybody can come. But yeah, we introduce things that will make daddies stay. And so everything that excites daddy, whether it is food, whether it is grills, whatever excites daddy, will also be available at the Daddy's Corner to make sure that the daddies are engaged this time. It's a family event, and so we want everybody to be there. So the daddies must not come and drop mummies and kids and go away, but they should stay. There is also the mummies cookie competition and other activities to engage mummies and make them unwind and make them relax and make them engage with their friends and their family members.
And for children, what should parents expect for their kids?
You know, because it's a family event, definitely the children are the heart of the party in the park. And we're looking at a lot of fun activities for them. Looking at games, bouncing castles coming in. And we are bringing Santa to Ghana. So we are expecting some gifts to be given out to these children who are going to meet Santa on that particular day. Let's hear again from Max Fuga, who tells us more about what children should expect.
So the kids for the bouncing castle, face painting competition. We have the grotto that will have Father Christmas that will be dishing out or distributing gifts to the kids who will come. So there's an exciting package that has been lined up for the kids so that they'll be happy, they'll be engaged, they'll live here satisfied.
And you definitely do not want to miss Joy FM's family party in the park on the 26th of December 2025, and it's going to be lively from start to finish. Our patrons are definitely assured of great music throughout the day, creating a festive atmosphere for families to relax, bond, and celebrate together. And that's it for NewsNight tonight. But before we go, here a few of your messages that you've been sending to us. This is Mensa from Teshi Nungwa, and he says, must Ndim for Joy and his people oppose everything just because they are in opposition? Since when has the deployment of armed forces become the responsibility of Parliament? We need a more responsible opposition than this. And this is from Se Mamobi from K2 North, and he says the Galamsey issue, the NCC government cannot put a stop to the act because they are making huge sums of money from the buying of gold from the Galamseyers. Mr. President, if you truly care about Ghanaians, please declare a state of emergency to stop Galamsey. And this one from Francis in Accra, he says, to Afenyo Markin and his MPP MPs who were digging, was Ghana having money then to feed the citizens before the hole they dug in the name of the National Cathedral? They should note that they do not matter again in any governance issue in the country. So those are some of your messages that you've been sending to us on our WhatsApp console. That's it for NewsNight. My name is Kenneth, Gyasi. But right after those, Strong and Sassy is coming up. And of course, the beautiful Ewoyaa is in the studio.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excited. Strong and Sassy tonight. I think you just need to pack and just watch us on Facebook because I have the whole squad here, the original squad. We are just coming to spoil the place. We are not coming to talk about anything this evening. We are just coming to spoil the place. So, you know, when we let it loose like this, it's a dirty December.
It looks like a very, very packed show
It's a very, very dirty December on Strong and Sassy.
That means you're recapping the year, right?
We are doing a lot. I'm just not going to say, but definitely stay tuned in. And if you can watch us on Facebook, I mean, the visuals are always better.
I cannot afford to miss this. You too.